Do you like Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
Wow. We're Dragon Deez Dice, comedy D&D 5e actual play show where a group of inexperienced heroes embark on a vast and deep storyline within a homebrew world brimming with magic and mischief. Sure to have you rolling.
With laughter?
In your
With
grave.
laughter.
No,
Well, someone's grave.
No.
What? Fuck up.
What the
Shut your
I'm really not.
goddamn
That is
mouth.
too soon.
Hey, I genuinely had a dream with Sonnet in it.
I dreamwalk.
I'm colorblind.
That's not a thing.
When you have a reoccurring dream where it's that familiar, it's not a dream. You're actually in an alternative
Balthazar
reality.
doesn't have a familiar anymore.
Okay, that's.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh my god.
What a
just
happy
named
way to
it.
start.
Before we start the episode, we partnered once again with Homie the Dude to give Dragon Deez Dice fans something special. If you use code DDD123 on their site, you'd get 10% off. So let me tell you about them. Homie and the Dude are a father-son-led TTRPG creation team that created Sky Zephyrs and are now introducing the Wandering Tavern, an incredible island-sized airship as a D&D setting. In the Wandering Tavern, you'll be able to explore, interact, and tell amazing stories with your friends as you get immersed in this unique and fantastical location inspired by the works of Studio Ghibli. The Wandering Tavern includes a setting overview and lore, battle map that consists of 14 plus cross-sectioned layers, descriptions of key locations, plot hooks, fully stat-blocked NPCs with original artwork, new items, spells, player feats, and 10 plus D&D table recipes from pubs and eateries that exist on the Wandering Tavern. If that's something you want to try, you can grab it today at hatdbuilder.com. And once again, you can get 10% off your order when you use our code DDD123. Thanks for Homie and the Dude for sponsoring this episode, and we hope you check out the Wandering Tavern. The King's Ball, a masquerade of royal mingling and hearty merriment, is now behind you all as you are burdened with the loss of one of your own. Your goals of infiltrating this party of nobles was to plant a tracking device on a businessman named Dragon Deez, while also learning the intel of who will be unmasked as the new Lord of Lupinpine and controller of the Northern Territory, only for it to be revealed that they are one and the same before you all could root him out from the rest of the attendees. Without skipping a beat, you all chased Lord Deez through the halls of the castle, fighting your way through a Yuan-Ti assassin sent to kill him and bumping into your resistance fighter ally Eloise there on her own accord. However, Mherren is attuned to a ring of tracking that is planted on who you believe is Dragon Deez's wife, Patricia Deez.
That's exactly the person that should be able to track the person. That's definitely a good idea, and nothing can possibly go wrong.
What?
Getting lost navigating the halls and with guards alerted of intruders, you all hid within a dead-end room, the King's Study. With Sana's anxiety at an all-time high, it was decided to not hedge your bets and get out with the political intrigue you did learn while you still could. The teleportation countdown was activated, but part of the way through, a secret passage was opened in the room, and walking out of it were Dragon Deez, War General Rosane, and King Zadark Einar himself. He offered your group chests of gold to your heart's content, thinking you were all there to collect the bounty on his bride-to-be Sana Phelan. But Sana approached the man, but not for a simple heart-to-heart, as she began wailing on him with her fists as the old man pleaded with her to stop, him claiming he was only after her heart after all. But then, in shattering his
I want
mask...
to say real quick, pause, fuck you.
But in shattering his...
I know that wording.
In shattering his mask, he began to fight back, breaking Sana's hands, shooting beams of golden light from his own hands, casting high-level magic, all the while only dropping a small bead of his own golden blood through a minuscule, disheartening cut on his face. None of you could help Sana being body-blocked by invisible soldiers as the floor began to rise, and golden rays shined through the windows as King Einar grabbed Sana's neck and dangled her over the leads. His words were, "A god creates time, but it takes a king to create an era." He then pierced his bare hand through Sana's chest and ripped out her still-beating heart, handing it off to Dragon Deez to deliver to OK Bottleby, and proudly asserting their advancement on the Empyrean. Before he could move on to disposing of the rest of you, the teleportation activated, However, you all began to be stuck in this stasis, traveling to your destination as golden glitters left the hollow crevice of Sana's chest and mixed into the magical aura as you said your final goodbyes until the teleportation completed Sana's lifeless body at your feet in your own apartment. Balthazar then released his familiar from the spell, asking the soul of his daughter Eloria to guide Sana's. Despite the cold night air, it's almost as if the sun still oddly shines through the window during the night. We're skipping a little bit ahead in time so that Sana's body is now wrapped in a bed sheet for now. Mherren holding on to the diary the late princess had kept that had fallen off of her.
Even if we tried to sleep, I don't think I could.
Just cast sleep.
I'm gonna fucking kill Balthazar. We should probably give her a burial sooner rather than later.
My worry about a burial is then there's a grave.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of a marker of where she is.
Well,
the king got what he wanted, didn't he?
Mherren's not going to take a long rest.
Pebble
think
won't
Shello-
either.
So I'll add a point of exhaustion.
Shello will sit on the toilet, but rest.
I don't think any of us would be able to sleep
I don't think we're really doing anything. I think we're just like can't sleep.
until morning,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Pebble's-
Mherren's just chilling with the wrapped up sauna.
Kelly, you can take a long rest. The rest of you can take a point of exhaustion.
Already done. This ain't my first rodeo.
That's my
Pebble's
secret. I'm
gonna
always
be sitting
exhausted.
Pebble's gonna be sitting around the fire and like whispering prayers to herself pretty much all night.
I will take the topaz figurine out of my bag and set it beside the bed sheets.
Currently, you all have the image of Sana's killer burned into your minds. Looking past the position of power, the king has the appearance of a sickly old man. He had these milky, bloodshot eyes, face almost uncanny as it contorted into a smirk at Sana. He looked frail, but as you could see, he proved not to be. But even then, the way he's talked about and in depictions of him, it shows a man that looks much greater than what you had witnessed. From what you have seen of him, this person that you saw under the mask, it was the same person, but just the way he's depicted is just in a more heightened way. It seems to boost him up.
Just a more flattering portrait.
Yes, basically.
That's how most paintings of royalty look. Wow.
Damn.
The
That is
full
whoa,
arc
that
of
is
the thing.
incredible.
I can't wait to make him unrecognizable.
No, for real.
You guys are leaving a body?
No, that's
What?
why I said unrecognizable.
Just a
He will be
puddle on
but
the
debris.
floor.
He has like milky eyes because he's perhaps blind. His skin is grayish, but not as if he's like a drow or anything like that. He seems to be a normal high elf, but just graying old skin, kind of sunken eyes. He had lots of golden jewelry, kind of a spiky crown around his head, green robes.
Balthazar's gonna sort of like put his head down and just go to his room, slamming the door and locking the door behind him as you hear rustling.
Hours pass. It's hard to tell when it becomes daytime because this whole time there's light coming through the windows, strangely, but eventually your internal clocks kind of recognize that it would be morning.
I'm gonna take the sauna figure from the body and go put it on the nightstand,
Right.
and then just come back out to the general living area. That is insensitive. Sorry.
You remember that forest that we had? It was sort of like similar, somewhat like a living forest with those creatures.
Oh, the
Wasn't
little
that Greenclay?
guys.
Off by Green
It
Clay,
was.
yeah.
It was just outside of Green Clay.
Someone's a druid. There's any place to
Yeah,
bury
for sure.
Well, of
the
course.
druids in a forest.
Yeah.
Balthazar comes out of his room and sits down at the table. I guess we should probably go about doing Sana a burial.
It's just, it can't be real. There's nothing we can do. We can't. I mean, Balthazar, what about like necromancy? There has to be something.
Necromancy is very potent and dangerous. It's not something that you wish to do on your loved ones.
But it's just, this can't be right.
Is that what people usually do in these situations?
Yeah, not necessarily saying goodbye, but celebrating the life of the person.
Like a party?
Hmm.
A moneybags party?
More like somewhat of a reunion. A gathering of friends and family to remember them.
We are Sana's friends, yes?
Yeah, we are. It's
Do we need to find the family as well?
I
I
don't know.
don't think, even if we could, that we should.
Do we even know if there's a person we can talk to? If there's someone who should know?
Balthazar glances over at Mherren, who I assume is grasping onto the diary.
Mherren's beside the body and holding the diary just loosely on her lap. Just clearly not present.
I don't think we do know anyone. I think we were the closest thing that Sana had to a family.
We have everyone for the burial then.
I
The
guess.
question of the matter is, where do we bury her?
It needs to be far away from this city. I don't want her to have to spend another moment here.
There was that forest we were in, just outside of Green Clay.
With the large beast.
Yeah, might actually be a nice place.
It's a long travel, but it's worth it. She deserves something nice.
If no one's got any complaints, Shello will have you come down with me and we'll prep the carriage.
That works for me.
Pebble, do you want to keep an eye on Mherren?
Sure.
Pebble, you receive a message from Eloise through the sending stone. He says, "Are you all safe? It's insane out here. I got out of the city. Hopefully I see you in Lupin Pine soon."
Fuck. Alright. So I'm going to respond. We're back home at the apartment, but we ran directly into the king. Sana didn't make it out. We're going to find a burial spot. This is so fucked up.
Are you guys going outside to head to where the caravan and the cart are parked?
Yeah.
As you step outside, there's golden rays shining down from the sky, but not necessarily originating from the sun, just sort of nondescriptly through the clouds, as you also see masses of land and buildings floating up into the air.
What?
Kind of a big deal.
What the fuck?
From where I am I able to see the anywhere near the castle?
You can see the castle in the sky.
That's good. That's yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, there it is. I see it over there.
Oh.
That's quite a way
Oh.
away.
Parkour time.
Fuck! Oh my god, dude.
I don't
this
think
is
we're doing it
so cool
straight
looking.
away. I'm not gonna lie, we're very underpowered.
I think we can do it.
No.
We can fly,
Wait, how the
right?
f-
Yo,
I don't know
look
how to
down
rank
below.
them.
There's a
Yeah.
dragon.
Don't talk about him like that.
Masses of floating
What?
land going
Oh.
out over like the sea, kind of in the direction of the Dragon Island off the coast. Not directly over it or anything, but sort of in that direction. And there's like clouds covering the highest points as these floating islands kind of drift up into the sky. That's Kingdom of the First Land, the Dragon Island, off the coast. So these floating islands, if you look, they kind of go in a line towards that. If you start at the original city on the ground and go up the shaft to like the head of the floating
Tone.
island.
I hate you.
No one's pointed it out yet.
Oh fuck!
God fucking
I
don't me look at the
despise
map
you.
again. God fucking damn it, Peanut. Peanut. God, I cannot.
I didn't
was like,
want
this is such a
to.
cool concept. This is so cool that all these islands are floating up, and then you have to point out. Whatever.
I didn't want to mention at all, but the second it loaded up, I scrolled across it and I was like, oh, that's a penis.
I mean, you had
That's-
no
oh my
problem
God.
saying the original city looked like a ball sack, so.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
could have been an accident. That's the thing. This one was not.
This is not only intentional but also malicious, I'd say.
I had to make some sort of comedy in this episode, okay?
Yeah, it is. Granted, it is quite a depressing episode.
Portions of the city are now just like craters from where the city had risen. Most of it is around where the castle was. A lot of the Royals Cross district has been risen up, but also sections of the entertainment district, such as the entirety of the Colosseum, some of Lord Market, some of Sunleak Towers, as well as the university within the city, as well as a lot of the military district has been risen up, sort of a perimeter around these floating islands, and a little bit of farmland in some of the industrial districts and some of the residential districts are now floating into the sky. Notably, nothing from like Stray Side or the outer walls of the city or even Low Ridge have been lifted up there. Or the
What about-
Braewood is completely untouched as well.
How's East Ender looking?
There's a little bit of East Ender, not too much of it, just a little bit of that, and some of the industrial district have been risen up. Just kind of some of the lower floating islands are kind of like farmland and some industrial buildings, and some of Mage's Row as well.
The place where our caravan is doesn't happen to be up there, does it?
No, some of Ivory Rise was lifted up. You see craters around you, but your apartment is unscathed.
That's good.
You're kind of surrounded by these craters. You also see on the streets there's kind of a panic going on. A lot of people have no idea what's going on. People are like trying to leave the city, and people are coming out to like look into the sky. It's kind of chaos on the streets right now. There's a lot of knights running through trying to calm people down and tell them to stay in their houses and such.
I understand now what Eloise meant.
We're able to see that the Colosseum has been lifted, right?
Yeah, you can tell that because actually from your window, you guys could actually see the entertainment district where the Colosseum is. So you guys can very clearly see that most of the entertainment district has been lifted up into the sky. It is on the farthest island to the right. Is all one chunk of the castle and the Colosseum. Also the Holy District, I forget the name of it, has been lifted.
And then there's also smaller
Yeah,
islands.
there's smaller islands, just like random buildings and some towers and such. And everything's kind of glowing with like a golden aura currently.
I'm gonna pat Balthazar on the shoulder. Excuse me, keeper of
Excuse me.
He broke him.
Yeah, Shello.
I believe the Colosseum is going away over there, and it seems like it may be difficult to get to soon.
I think the Colosseums are lower on our list at the moment.
Well, that one is quite high.
Ain't that the truth?
What should you don't have your owl anymore.
No, I don't.
What are you the keeper of?
Not the keeper of promises, that's for sure.
Youch.
Damn.
Very well. I will come back to you with a more fitting name, perhaps.
You guys get the horses and one cow off the reins and kind of pulled in front of the apartment building to leave.
Balthazar should really drink a health potion. I am on 16.
You should have slept.
Yeah. Loser.
I was going to suggest whenever we were talking about a burial, we could have just done a soldier burial where it's just a pile of rocks.
No, we don't want to keep. Long and short of it, we don't want that freak of a fucking king to get the rest of their body.
Yeah, but just a pile of rocks isn't signifying.
I didn't want anyone to be able to find her body. It wasn't about the king for me. It was literally anyone. Eat it?
No.
Why not?
That's a thing that people could do. Not us. I've meant like someone who found her body could do that.
Oh, but if you eat it,
I know that you were talking about us eating it, but
it's good for druids to be returned to the forest.
Exactly. Yeah. We saw the children of the forest in that forest, and also Sana is a druid, so she's a child of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Sana just isn't a druid.
What?
I guess probably while they're gone, Mherren can open the cover, skim through the first page.
Yeah, the first page, it just says, it's like that typical diary thing. It says, if found, return to the Braewood Manor.
The Braewood Manor.
Braewood Manor.
After reading that, Mherren closes the book again. Oh, that was such good timing. I'm listening to music to like get me through this. And the song that I'm listening to says, do you close the book and never read it again? Right as I said that she closes the book. So that was fun.
Stop listening to men whimpering during the session.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm not listening to that.
You love me.
Usually maybe. Right now, no.
Usually maybe
it's
crazy.
It's weird that you have 400 songs in a playlist called Men Whimpering.
No, oh my god. I'm
400 song playlist and all of them.
Killing you all. No.
Can we lay some ground rules to not listen to smut while we're...
I'm not.
I will not agree.
I'm listening to a song about this guy's dead mom.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yikes.
Yeah,
does he cry and maybe whimper a little?
No.
Oh my god, dude.
So
Pebble should probably summon Boulder, huh?
No, we got horses and a cow.
But I want Boulder.
Okay, well, we'll head back upstairs.
I'll hold on to the reins of the animals, the 3 animals.
Is Mherren gonna have to carry Sana, or
Mherren will carry Sana.
I don't think
will
my
not
strength
let anyone
would even...
else carry Sana.
Well, I'm not sure what your current cognition is, considering.
You're able to carry Sana down to the caravan, kind of putting her in the back. Does Mherren take the reins of the caravan, or should you let someone else drive?
She'll drive. She'll put Sana in the back very gently, very gingerly, make sure that she wouldn't be like rustled before taking a moment to just look down at her wrapped up body and then getting out of the back of the carriage and taking the reins.
I will get on to the other one. I'm taking the reins as an and.
Where's Mherren leading the caravan?
To Braewood.
I'm following in tow.
Does she
Mherren hasn't
so-
discussed this with
yeah,
anyone, by the
so,
way. Mherren's just going there.
does anyone say anything to noticing that you begin crossing a bridge into the forested part of the city?
I'm sort of confused, but
It seems like we have arrived at the your forest for the druids early. I don't remember it taking this little time.
Oh, maybe I know where Mherren's taking us. I guess we'll follow her lead for now.
As you enter into this area, the trees are so massive. The tops of them, the leaves make sort of a roof over this section of the city. And for once since the end of the masquerade, there's not shining golden light down at you. Out in the open of the city, it's not dark within here. It's shaded. You pass by large trees with tree houses kind of built into them. Some of them have this sort of natural plant life that's making lights as like sort of lanterns. This feels very different from the rest of the city. More like down to earth, you know? It's not like massive towering buildings or anything. It's just a lot of the buildings here are tree houses, or there's some like stone and wooden buildings within here, and it's more sort of sparsely populated. There's not as many buildings. Occasionally you'll see a person like swinging through the trees, and you actually notice more and more as you go through that people are like watching you from the trees, these sort of like scouts looking down at you. You see that they have like bows and arrows on them as you enter this sort of town square area with this massive tree in the center of it with buildings around it, a sort of spiraling wooden staircase going up that branches out into other treehouse buildings and such. This tree has these like carvings made into it all the way up, and it goes like for miles into the air from the bottom of the trunk up to the top of the tree. Quite a bit more people gathered on the in this area of the Braewood. The roads in here are just kind of like regular dirt paths. As you pull in, you're getting quite a bit of looks of people kind of not expecting you guys to be like passing through here. It seems like this is a very secluded part of the city. Coming off this very large tree, there's a large building. It looks much more royal in its craftsmanship. There's brick laid throughout it. It's built to sort of mimic the look of the tree as it spirals up with this staircase, statues of vines and stuff along the side. It definitely stands out from the more farmland, more modest houses. You also saw some breweries as you pass through, but this big building looks like the manor.
All right, we're going up to it.
Wait, where are we going?
It's like a big mansion, but as a treehouse.
That sounds amazing.
Mherren looks back, just glances at everyone before making eye contact with Balthazar. Not saying anything. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at him and then looks at the caravan.
Balthazar nods.
And then Mherren turns around and goes towards the manor.
Anyone following her?
Pebble will.
I'm marching proudly behind
Okay.
Mherren.
As you three begin going up this staircase, up this tree, you get to like the first platform before the staircase spirals up the tree trunk, and you're stopped by what looks like guards, but they're in this very like archery outfit with like green tunics and stuff. There's two of them. One of them just holds his hand up and is like, "Halt! Who are you all? What business do you have at the life tree?"
Mherren just looks at them for a second before saying, "We have business with the Valens."
The two people look at each other. Wood elves, by the way. Pretty much all the people here you see are wood elves. They kind of look at each other and then look back at you. "This is the first we're hearing of this. What's your name?"
We come on behalf of Sana Phelan.
They look at each other again, and then one is like, "You all wait here. I'll fetch the Phalens. Quite a bit of time goes by when you see approaching with this guard behind her is this woman that she has a face that looks almost like you recognize it, but then you realize that you might just be recognizing the features of Sana, except this woman has this sort of nose that's more like smaller than Sana's, kind of upturned. She has brown hair, but it's sort of lighter than Sana's, put back in braids, kind of ritualistic looking makeup on her face. It's kind of like zigzag lines. She's wearing this green gown. She walks down, arms kind of folded at her front. She says down to you all, kind of shouting as she walks down in a very proper way, kind of walking upright, but she rises her voice in a way that doesn't really fit the more proper nature of how she's walking. You have news of my daughter?
Mherren just kind of looks at her for a long moment without saying anything. Then she speaks. Your daughter is dead by the hand of the man you sold her to.
She is taken aback, but looks as though she just heard something wild that she doesn't believe. Can you make a persuasion check?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to persuade her. We can show her the fucking body.
That's my plan. Okay, 6. That's fine.
Aren't you exhausted?
Yeah, you'd make a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Welcome to exhaustion. First time.
Six.
It's
six
the
could
same
still
exact
work.
way.
Nice. Yeah, she kind of waves her hand up and says to the guard, "Get them out of here."
We have her body.
As she's walking up the stairs, turn back to you, she just kind of stops for a moment, tilts her head to the guard on the left and says, "Well, let us humor them. Let me see whoever this person you think my daughter is, and punishment will be greater than this letting you go on your way."
Mherren doesn't say anything else. She just turns and goes back to the caravan.
Taken aback by your bluntness and just kind of leaving without saying anything, so she takes a moment and then begins following some more guards, kind of going around her to patrol. Not at her saying anything, but you can kind of get the idea that they think this is kind of fishy. So they begin following.
Once they get there, Mherren very carefully, to only expose Sana's face, shifts the sheet.
She kind of goes wide-eyed. All the guards sort of looking at each other and looking back as she slowly approaches, puts her hand out and kind of touches Sana's cold cheek, and then she just starts breaking down, crying. She seems to just she just forgets you all are there. She's just almost falling to the floor, crying, just yelling out, "Gods, what is this?" And then you hear from in the trees just kind of rustling as this man in all black, a kind of fur-lined leather, jumps down from the trees with a patrol with him as well in kind of matching armor. This man has this long black hair, some stubble. He has a lot of scars, and this one looks less like Sana, but still you can see that he has some of Sana's features as he sort of runs up, kind of pushing all the others away. "What's happening? What is this?" And then he sees the body. He takes out his sword and is like, "What trickery is this?"
Please do not point your sharp, pointy weapons. There is no trickery at hand.
His patrol that's with him starts lifting up bows and arrows pointed in your all direction. After he looks at the body for a moment, he just goes silent and kind of walks forward, arm going limp, still grasping the sword, but slowly walking over behind this woman that's just fully on the ground, just in tears right now. One of the guards yells at you all of you, "Step back, away from the carriage."
You'll have to kill me first.
I'm stepping away from the carriage.
Mherren's
Pebble,
not
I'm not
stepping away
dying.
from Sana's body.
I'm not gonna die.
Your daughter changed a lot in the time we knew her, and we saw her die. And whether or not you believe that does not change the truth. You can cast any magic detection. It will tell you the same thing. It will tell you that this is real, despite how you wish it weren't. Despite how I wish it weren't.
The man kind of glances at you and looks back at the body, still silent. The woman seems like she's not paying attention to you at all as you begin to feel vines go around you from behind Mherren.
Brother.
Does Balthazar notice this?
Yes, you notice looking behind Mherren, this woman, kind of younger looking than these two. These two look like young adults, but with elves it's hard to tell. This one seems a bit younger, sort of around Sana's age. She has orange hair and like black mascara. You recognize her as someone that was outside of the back of the castle the night you delivered those vegetables. She was like checking the packages there, and you see her speed walking towards you all, lifting up her hand, and vines kind of shooting from her sleeve that are wrapping around Mherren and constraining her.
Does she show resemblance to Sana?
No.
Okay, then I'm not gonna feel bad about this.
Oh god. Please think
I think
for 5
you-
seconds.
I think you will feel bad about this.
I think you'll feel bad about it when Mherren gets killed because of it.
At first, I thought possibly a younger sibling of Sana's, so maybe don't. But then no resemblance. Get the fuck off of our friend. I assume this is druid magic. Would I be able to use a arcane check to see if it is druid magic?
Yeah, make an Arcana check.
Thank you.
Forgot the name of the check.
Fuck! And it's at a disadvantage too, because I'm...
Yeah.
Well, I have a funny feeling.
Okay,
Given
well,
where we are,
I'm just gonna take a gamble that it is magic then. I'm gonna cast Counterspell.
Counterspell has no effect.
Fuck.
You try to
Great.
lift up your hand doing the components of Counterspell. No effect happens as she now points her other hand to you, vines shooting out and wrapping around you and restraining you as well now, Balthazar.
Oh.
And she looks
It was
to
a stitch. I'm still-
she looks to Pebble and Shello. Will you two fight back as well?
I'm just here because I was following.
Explain what you're doing,
And I'm
Also-
and I'll
friends.
decide.
Mherren didn't even fight. She just didn't
Yeah,
move.
Mherren's chilling.
Resisting an order.
Mherren's
She hasn't
chilling.
done anything.
I believe you
disobeyed
could strength
orders.
yourself out of that though. I feel like you're just holding
yeah.
back on purpose.
Oh yeah, Mherren's like she's not peaceful necessarily in this encounter, but she isn't gonna like fight them. She doesn't want to fight them.
I want to.
Yeah.
Get on the floor, belly down.
Why? What have we done? Tell me exactly.
She shoots the vine at you, restraining you now, Pebble.
God fucking damn it. God, I literally...
And get on the fucking floor.
I
Ooh.
don't very much appreciate your language, but I will as long as you are okay with my hands being out.
As you go onto the floor, you feel vines wrap around your arms, tying them behind your back.
Bruh.
Hello. Oh,
A team of a bunch of different guards is now crowding around the two parents in your caravans as some come up to all of you and begin picking you up. It takes like 5 people to pick up Mherren, but and like a few to pick up Pebble as well. But they begin carrying you all away from this. Is anyone struggling or anything?
Yeah, Mherren's not gonna let anyone take her.
I'm wriggling. I'm...
Let's go.
Like
Slowly wiggling.
as soon as someone goes to grab Mherren, she is immediately fighting their strengths.
Okay, Mherren, go ahead and make a strength check at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Oh,
exhaustion.
okay. 1 second. Okay, ignore that. I still had the rage thing on, so it automatically did the thing.
I
Which
can
is a
take that.
10.
I can take that at
Sorry.
disadvantage. So 10, you find that you just too tired to break out of this right now.
All right. So I'm actually gonna do something else then.
Pebble, are you trying to break out of it?
Yes.
Can you roll twice the strength check for disadvantage?
The first one's 22. The second
Okay.
one is 5. Oh,
You
yeah.
also
Oh,
are just
shit.
unable to break
Yeah,
out of
my
it.
pen didn't work.
You're-
I'm afraid.
You're unable to snap these vines. They seem it doesn't seem like just like plant vines, you know. There's something about them that makes them feel almost impenetrable to you right now.
I see.
Oh no.
Excuse me, I have an itch.
I'm gonna activate the Belt of the Sun God and make it ignite and flame.
Oh shit.
Burn the
Oh,
vine.
shit.
Okay, go
It
ahead and
just
roll
turns to
roll
fire.
damage for that.
All right. And I
Wait,
got
would that be
another thing I can do if
self-damage?
this doesn't work. No, it's not. It doesn't harm her. It's 9 damage.
Flame begins emitting from this as the guards are picking you up. They kind of like jump back. You seem to singe the vines, but it's not penetrating through it.
That's not a big deal, because you know what else I'm gonna do?
Oh no, she's gonna spend all of her slots at once.
I only have 1 slot.
Amazing. We're
'Cause I don't
also
plan on
exhausted
getting
and
into
grieving, so
battle
we're not
anyway.
sleeping. Maybe save your slots.
No, there's no reason for me to. And I also have an ability that gives me back my spell slot. And I'm a warlock, so I take a short rest and I get my spell
Oh, you're a
slot.
barbarian.
A bunch of these people are getting out bows and locking arrows and them pointed at you now.
That's fine.
Peanut's gonna have to load up the battle map.
That's fine. I don't care.
I do.
But you don't have to engage in battle.
I have
Okay,
LCs.
I like that.
About 13 arrows fly into you from
Okay.
multiple
Jesus
different people.
Christ.
You just get littered with arrows into your back now that you're like fallen onto the floor face down. You take 59 piercing damage.
Alright. Cool.
What?
I'm not dead.
I'm uncomfortable.
So am I.
I'm still alive.
We're losing Mherren as
They're
well
all
this episode.
they're all yelling at you. They're like, "Stop resisting!"
I'd stand
We
down.
gave you a privilege. Mherren's looking at the dad.
You can't see them anymore. There's a
Oh.
crowd of guards are completely around them. There's a lot of people just filling into this space. There's a lot of different people look like just like commoners that live here, guards, archers, druids. Just like it seems like everyone within this section of the city is just all convening on this location, just kind of crowding around the caravan.
We have given you closure when you signed your daughter's life away. You can kill me, but that will not bring your daughter back. That will not stop the hand that tore her heart out from the man that you sold her to.
This woman that shot the vines out that wrapped around you walks up to you. Just shut up. Get the others to the cell. I'll deal with this. Mherren, can you make a Constitution saving throw
Yeah.
Oh,
at a disadvantage?
advantage.
I have proficiency in it at least. 12.
You feel a shock of electricity light up like your spine. You take 24 damage.
Damn.
Alright.
That leaves
Hello.
you at 1 HP, right?
Yeah, Relentless Endurance does.
Then she's going to use her multi-attack to then slam her quarterstaff down on your head.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Okay.
whoa, 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 whoa.
That's a stunning
I
strike.
thought,
It's not
I thought
a deadly
she intentionally left her at.
No.
No.
I mean, she can kill her. That's fine.
Does a 19 hit?
No, it's not fine. It's not fine because I
Yeah.
can't lose Mherren as well.
Okay.
I can't do anything about it.
I mean, you could have done something.
You take 5 damage then as you get knocked out.
Bonk.
Mherren's not dead. It seems she was going for a non-lethal blow,
Thank
just knocking you
fuck.
out. And then the people hesitantly go back up and start carrying Mherren. One of them kind of flinches before they grab the vines to pick you back up.
Me too.
You all are thrown into this like cage that's sort of hanging by like a by a branch that's sort of like a walkway. This is sort of like this wooden cage is kind of like hanging in the air. And although it's wooden, it seems to be a special wood that's extra sturdy as much as metal would be. Your weapons and such are of course taken. And then after they close the gate, this druid holds up her wrists and the vines unconnect from all of you and like slither back over to her, up her legs and back into her sleeves. And then she just looks at you all, just like scanning you all for a moment before beginning to turn around and like walk back out down this branch and like down the tree.
I'm gonna heal Mherren.
Mherren, you begin to regain consciousness, waking up with 7 HP, realizing you're now in a cell. Actually, she's gonna leave the full binding on Mherren. The rest of you are only bound by hands.
Oh, my hands are still bound.
Lock
It's
that
so
damn
funny
dog up.
because Mherren didn't actually like hit anyone. Like she just set her belt on fire and that's
It's
it.
really funny.
And then she yelled at them. She didn't. She's hardly actually done anything.
They were intimidated. You all are just kind of left in here for a while. You hear commotion and like a lot of people running, like walking by, but from your vantage point, it's hard to tell what's kind of happening down the town center with your caravan. And you're in a especially sort of shaded part of these woods, so it's kind of as dark as like a dungeon prison cell over in here, even though you're like up in the trees. You guys are in here for what feels like forever. You can tell that it's that hours are beginning to go by, and like you can even tell that's kind of getting a little bit darker out.
Man's just staring at the door.
You are a worm
Do
on
a
the floor at the
special
moment.
headbutt move.
A little silkworm on the ground,
So then, are you guys doing anything while waiting in this cell?
crying.
Well, yes.
Man's just gonna
besides
listen.
that.
Make a perception check. Are you listening for anything specific?
Specifically for any conversation, any like wind sound, any footsteps, like any
Okay.
people nearby, and then also anything that would give away like an opening.
Yeah, make a perception check at disadvantage.
Exhaustion's so much fun. I'm glad you guys can now experience it.
11.
Don't say now. I've been experiencing it this entire campaign because I was
Excuse
the only
me.
one that could drive forever.
You don't necessarily hear or see anything, but you do have a feeling you're being watched, even though you don't necessarily spot anything.
Can I use magic awareness?
Yeah, you get the impression these vines around you are magical in nature, but they appear to be some sort of magic item, so you're not getting any school of magic off of them. They don't appear to be this like spell or anything. They seem to be specifically this magical item. More hours go by, and it seems like it's beginning to be nighttime. You couldn't really hear any like specific conversations or anything, but you can tell that commotion has died down. People are probably going to sleep by now. It gets into like probably what's like the middle of the night when you begin to spot torchlight approaching up the ramp and around the branch. You see that the same woman, Sana's mother, is in the same clothing, but she now has this cloak with like a hood up as she's carrying a torch, walking towards the cage you all are in. And she gets to the door. She says, "My husband is ready to kill you all, but you're delivering the body. It couldn't be your doing, so tell me what happened."
We met her a while ago. We traveled with her for a while. We came back to the capital. We were trying to get intel on someone. So we attended the masquerade ball. We followed her through the floors until we got to the king's study, where he appeared from a hidden entrance, along with Gerard and some guards. before we had the chance to transport out, Sana approached him, yelled at him, hit him, and then he transformed. He transformed from the sickly old man he appeared to be into something unnatural. He grabbed her, broke her hands, spilled her blood, and after rising the land, preventing us from getting closer, he tore out her heart and gave it to Gerard to do only the 9 hells know what, and then threw her body back to us. And I held on to her as we transported outside of the castle.
There's a sort of blank expression on her face, just watching you say this. Occasionally you see like one of her eyes twitch a bit, and when you're done, she kind of moves her head, looking to the rest of you all as if to like confirm this.
Pebble nods. You can tell she's been crying.
You say the king, the king himself, or one of his guards? What do you mean?
The king himself.
Staring blankly at you, but like as if she's in thought. Elves, we live for hundreds of years. She was so young.
I know.
We thought we didn't know where she went, but we thought she'd come back one day.
I mean no disrespect. I don't know what happened between you two. But I have to ask, why? Why did you think that she would come back? What could she have had to come back to?
Her entire world was here. I don't know what she's told you about us, but we loved her.
She hasn't spoken of you. All I know is that when I met that girl, Mherren takes a deep breath. When I met that girl, she was broken. She reminded me of a child. I'm a veteran. I'm an ex-soldier. The look on her face, how she acted, it reminded me of every young adult we had in battle beside me, and it reminded me... She reminded me of every time we had to come back and tell a child that we lost their family in battle. She was broken, and in the time we spent with her, however short it may have been, it brought something out of her, and it made her less afraid. And in the end, I don't know if this will be a comfort to you. She wasn't afraid in the end. That girl is one of the bravest people I've ever met. Because even as awful as she felt when we found her, she persevered. And that was because she didn't come back.
You can tell she's trying to like keep a sort of strong composure, still like a blank expression, but there's like some tears going down her face. And she says, I'm aware she did not want to be the arch druid, but by her birthright, it was what we raised her for, to lead the druids here. But, you know, I knew she didn't want that, and at times we had to force her to go to her studies and whatnot. But these are duties that the Archdruid has to do. Royalty, a noble woman, she has responsibilities that she may not always want, but
Was
she
it worth it? Was it worth it?
she just kind of looks at you and doesn't answer.
I don't want to have a fight about this. Mherren, like, takes a moment. She's getting a little worked up. She just takes another deep breath. Looks right in Sana's mom's eyes. I've been prepared to die for that girl since I met her. Your daughter is dead because of the king. The king that she was given to. And frankly, as much as I don't give a damn about death, killing us won't bring her back.
I have no intention of killing you, but my husband saw you all bring her body and he's just angry. You wouldn't understand the sacrifices noble people have to make. I myself was part of an arranged marriage as Sana. How could we have known? Her voice is like kind of cracking.
Did you talk to her? Did you ask her how she felt?
These are the responsibilities of a princess.
Being the princess killed her. At first, emotionally. No one lives like that. At most, people survive like that, and usually not even that much. She lived by being Sana. Not attached to your name. She lived her best when she was Sana, away from everything, being herself in what she wanted to do. I understand the responsibilities. I, frankly, shackled myself to responsibility. Until I met your daughter. Because I can't say this without tearing up, Mherren is now also tearing up to make it make sense. I made myself take on every responsibility. And I can't tell you how many times it nearly killed me. Then I met your daughter. Not as the princess, but as some scared girl in a tavern. And she taught me to rely on others. And she saved my life. Some part of me does resent you for what Sana had to go through. I can tell that you loved her. I want you to be able to know the person that your daughter was, not who she was forced to be.
Just like looking down now, just kind of like at the floor. What was she like with you?
She could be real feisty, you know that? I can't tell you how many times she told me off for doing something stupid. And how many times she brought us all together when we were fragmented over something absolutely ridiculous. She was sarcastic at times, but she was also one of the most loving and protective people I've met. And she was trusting in some ways. For a long time, she didn't trust us. But then, in the end, just before we came back to the capital, we fought a monster that we could not see. And Sana, despite not knowing what was happening, despite not being able to see the monster in front of her, trusted me and helped me so that I could protect her and everyone else. Your daughter, Sana, was the bravest person I've met.
Fuck you. I'm crying as well.
I'm crying too. I had to not stop, but my tears were literally falling in my mouth.
Come on, let's not fight between us. It's clearly P3's fault.
Despite, I assume, having not actually fought anything in proper battle. She was strong. She fought excellently, frankly. I don't think I've ever enjoyed more teaching someone how to use a bow.
She learned how to use a bow?
Yeah.
Was she good?
Not really.
We only had a couple lessons, so I'm not sure I would use the word good, but she
For the first time,
improved.
this woman kind of softly chuckles a little bit.
She was even somewhat eager to learn magic as well.
And she killed many people.
That's okay. That
Her-
is true.
Her eyebrows raise at Balthazar, though, and Shello says that she's kind of taken aback for a moment. That is certainly, well, this seemed like she changed quite a bit. Not to be harsh, but elves, we live for so long, her time with you all would have been like, you know, owning a dog or a fish. Just a fleeting moment in her vast life. But that was taken away.
It was.
Sana is one of the only reasons I feel like I've managed to be as strong as I am on this trip. It's awful when everyone seems to think a certain way about you, and you can't help but begin to think about yourself that way. I despised myself, but Sana was always so kind, and I never understood why. She cared about me, and even if she acted like she didn't at times, you know her. I could always tell that she did. I always had her. I don't think I'll ever think about myself the same way, for the better. She didn't deserve what happened to her. No one does, but she especially didn't.
I'm sure you'll remember her far longer than the time you got to spend with her.
That's always the hard part, isn't it? Remembering for far longer than you experienced.
Us elves, we know that feeling well. She should have known that feeling well. But she's grown old. Thinking of memories, your adventures that you hold so fondly. As she'll just be that memory. Stands there a moment longer, but then she begins walking away.
Yeah, the whole time we were doing that really emotional thing, I was just staring at the cock and balls that was on my screen.
I was like zoomed in on Braewood.
And also when Peanut said duties, I had to mute because I started
I
laughing.
saw that.
Of course you did.
A few more hours begin to go by. Still seems late in the night when the woman begins coming back with this time a guard behind her carrying the torch for her. And she goes up to the door of the cage, grabbing the thing that sort of locks it. And she says, "Can I trust that you'll cooperate and follow me?"
Yes.
He opens up the door, and then looking down at Mherren, she says, "Yve," and the vines unwrap around you, go around her leg, going up to her waist and kind of tying itself around her dress as like a belt. And then the another guard walks in and unrestrains the rest of your hands. One of the guards takes a minute to rubs some like plant-based paste on your back over the wounds to kind of heal them.
Interesting.
And now you kill them.
I'll go ahead and
No. I'm not Pebble.
No, but you're
What the fuck,
Mherren.
dude?
You murdered him.
That was a long time ago.
I know. I just felt like we hadn't made fun of you for it in a while.
you can
A
take
couple weeks ago.
you can take 14 points of healing.
Hell yeah.
Dude, that's way
just-
better than my healing
I'm
word.
s- Everyone's out here
That's
getting healed. I'm
literally
still
double
on
it.
fucking 16.
They don't give you your stuff back yet, but she begins walking and she says, "Right then, follow me." She
What?
leads you all higher up on the tree, getting closer to the top of it before going into this building, this tree house it connects off into. And you see inside, this one's kind of like reinforced, and walking in, you see racks of like weapons, a table with like a map laid out. This seems to be a sort of like war planning room almost. And this man is like pacing around this room. There's a bunch of what looks like archers, and they're all like grabbing weapons and such. And he's like kind of rallying them. Sana's mother walks in here leading you all, and she's like, "What are you doing? You really think we stand a chance starting a war with the entire continent?"
Oh?
He stops and then just swings his arms across a table, knocking a bunch of like glassware and like the map onto the floor. And he's like, "I don't know what to do, but I cannot live with myself staying here hiding in bushes under their shadow." And then she kind of puts her hand on his shoulder and says, "Take a deep breath. Show them the life tree." Looks at her for a moment and then goes up to the wall and grabs a torch off of it and just sort of emotionlessly walks past you all out of the room, sort of looking like he's walking with a purpose. And she turns back to all of you and says, "Follow him."
Mherren doesn't say anything, but she nods and turns to follow him.
Walking down the ramp of the tree with you all behind him. This is the life tree. What we built the Braewood around, and all these buildings on the branches of. It tells the history of the Wood Elves, and by connection, the Braewood we are the sworn wardens of. Looking at this tree as you pass by it, it's like I said, it's a giant wooden tree, almost like a whole like village almost is just built off of like the branches and off the sides of this tree, and like tree houses and such. And it has all sorts of just carvings into it. They're kind of hard to tell up close. Some of them seem to be made like bigger, like from looking at far away, but there's others that are like smaller and such. They seem to be depict different murals and writing in Elvish. The oldest etches made into the top of the tree suggest this very forest is where elf life began, when this tree was but a sapling. Our goddess Gwynvine was the original caretaker of this land. Her fable ends with her putting her heart into her people, hoping one day there will be a druid that has the blessing of her magic. He sort of like stops with looking up at one of the carvings. There's many theories of what this could mean. Some scholars have drawn comparisons to the prophecies within the lost elder texts, but many in our enclave believed Sana to be the one with Gwynvane's blessing. Before my daughter was born, the carvings only aligned with 3 others, the murals of which have since been crossed out As he holds the torch up to the side of the tree, you see a carving of some kind of simplistic hieroglyphic kind of looking carving of 3 different sort of female figures, but over the heads there's a giant kind of ball formed on the tree, like a giant knot. One of those things where when a tree takes damage and it like kind of grows over it in the giant ball. I forget what they're called, but it's just like covering the heads of these female forms. Their identities have been lost to time. We never imagined another would be within our lifetimes, let alone our own child, but her birth fell perfectly with the conditions. Gwynvaine released her blessings in the season, the moon cycles, the constellations in the sky, the damn humidity levels, it was all exact. So, we raised her to lead our people with this in mind. As I'm told, you all know from your experience with her, this was a heavy burden on anyone's shoulders, of course. And she never took to magic. She tried, but we knew she had a lack of interest in her druid studies. Still, though, I pushed her to keep trying. Perhaps too hard at times. And he begins walking down the stairs, continuing down the tree. I started to question whether she had some kind of an aversion to magic, or she was just simply... And I hate that I thought this, but she was possibly just too flawed of a druid to learn the magic. You see, through brewing techniques I mastered with my druid arts, my wife and I were the first of the Braewood to be one with the nobility of the High Elves. My wife and I made a fortune off of this, but still, we had everything riding on her. Our whole enclave fully believed in her. One day, the king said to me late one night, after maybe a few glasses of wine, he said, maybe this whole time we've been looking into it the wrong way. The fables of the tree, the prophecies here. He said a marriage of the Wood Elf princess and king of the elves could be the blessing of the heart that would reunite the world. I thought I was out of options with Sana being in training for years. I accepted his proposal immediately. His voice is kind of cracking a bit as he says this, but he's turned away from you walking down the stairs, kind of at a fast pace, so you don't really see his facial expression right now. She was not happy. Didn't like the times we would leave her at the castle to get to know him. We tried to make it easier for her. We told her it was the best for her future and the Enclave's future. Then she ran away. The night before the wedding, just soon after it was announced to the public. Zadar was furious. He didn't want the news to get out. He thought it'd leave a bad impression. Just told the press the wedding was on hold. Certain guards were told to watch for someone matching her description, didn't really know the full truth of it. And a team of bounty hunters were hired to track her down, one of which being from this very enclave, the one that wrapped you all in vines earlier. But other than that, we had to just sit and wait. Ula, my wife, she wanted to do more to track her down. I mean, Sana very well could have been killed out there alone. We didn't really know what had happened, but I, myself, advised her not to undermine the king's wishes. This here. He points to the tree again, lifting the torch to it. These glyphs are accounting of how other deities came to be. He seems to just kind of be stopping right now. Mostly, it seems to kind of get his mind off of what he's saying.
Can I make a religion check on the wall, see if I recognize any symbolism for Angarad?
Yeah, go ahead and make a religion check.
Yes! Give me a moment.
At disadvantage.
Fuck you. God damn it. Oh,
I love how Shelly's had no requirement of any checks. They've just been sitting there without disadvantage.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's just
damn
hanging
it.
out.
What'd you get?
God
Sitting
damn
pretty.
it. 5.
5. To be fair, you rolled bad each time.
Going
I know, I
without
said God damn it,
sleep
God damn it.
for almost another day at this point, because it's like the middle of the night. Your eyes are really
Yo.
blurry. You cannot focus on this right now, so you just keep listening to what he has to say for now. He says,
Damn it.
there was a time when the magic weave of the universe was still thin and other realms more overlapped with our own. Nearby here, once upon a time, there were rifts to the Feywild and a rift to Elysium and domain of the Celestials. This mural claims there were more overlaps elsewhere, but this section here, it depicts Corellin himself passing over from Elysium to guide the elves as a new divine power after Gwynvaine gave herself up for her blessing. The life tree is full of divine tales. Further up is a fable of a dragon god known as the World Shaper that breathed fire on the oceans to create the land we now walk on. And even higher is Inibis, who created the seas through her tears. There's stories of gods for which worship is outlawed even, but their stories end here at this point. This mural, going a little bit further down the tree, this depicts the king hosting a meeting of all the gods put on by Corellin. I'm sure you know the story well, but the gods were never seen again after this. The magic, of course, is still out there to be drawn on by people of faith, same as Gwynvaine before this, but with her it was at least known what happened when she gave up herself for her people. The ones here, they vanished, putting an end to a time where the world was united, as they say. And the king is etched here, and he takes out a dagger and kind of stabs it into the tree over a depiction of a man with like a beard, not super detailed. It's a simple carving, but you can tell it's him, some 900 years ago. He looks the same as he did then. When you're chosen by the gods, it keeps you in good health, is what he says. Anyway, not soon after this mural is one in which the city is sent underground by the king's magic. That is the strength of this man, to move an entire city by arcane means and then having the social power to make his citizens build a new one to his liking. He begins walking further down the tree, remaining silent for a little bit, occasionally looking up at the etchings into the side of it. Now, at the very bottom of the trunk, we begin carving this new change. They're already calling those floating islands the Highlands. But this is not all the tree tells. When I said the oldest carvings were at the top, that was not the total truth. I will show you now what only a select few have seen. Come with me into the crypts under the Braewood, and I'll show you the roots of the tree.
Oh, that's interesting, because I guess, yeah, the top and the roots would be the oldest parts of a tree.
He continues down, getting to a point that seems highly, has a high amount of security. There's a lot of, like, vines. He seems to be doing sort of moving around, with magic, doing a sort of interlocking puzzle to open it that he seems to know based on memory. Until eventually they uncover a giant stone door that kind of it's like almost like a hatch that goes underground. Two men come up and like pull the doors up on as a staircase continues down. And as he walks in, torches on the wall like kind of light up with magic. As you all walk through these halls, you see roots kind of grown into like stone walls in this like underground tunnel. The carvings and the roots are different. They aren't engraved by hand, rather it's as if it's how they grew in. And you see that the roots like kind of spiral and curl as they go through the ground. On them are designs that almost look burred into the wood instead of carved, that have this sort of colorful hue to them. At the center, the more you walk into the through the tunnel, you get to this larger room, and at the center are a bunch of roots kind of converging into what almost looks like to be a body of a person. It's believed this was made by Gwynvine herself as she nurtured the tree, the roots growing to mimic her form. No one is really sure what she was trying to tell us with these designs. As you can see, there's a repeated motif of a spiral burned into them, and parts of it, researchers say, perhaps allude to something even more ancient than Gwyn. You're standing in a place marked by God itself. I'll give you a moment to take it in. He sort of like stands by the where the hall kind of opens out into this room as you all kind of walk in, kind of going under like these giant roots that kind of curl around this room.
Can I take a big breath in? Truly take it all in.
Mherren's going to gently like run her fingers along the roots.
So the air feels sort of dank, but like kind of earthy at the same time. Like you're breathing in, like when you breathe in a hardware store almost.
Okay.
There's some like sawdust in there.
That's so specific and so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mherren, can you make a Arcana check?
Yeah,
Disadvantage, of course.
it's a. Yeah. Okay, that's actually not as bad as I was expecting. 9.
As you kind of move your fingers across one of these spirals, for a second it's almost like it reacts to your touch, but you're not sure if it's just your imagination.
I was sneaking some suspicion it's not just her imagination.
I'm curious. Mherren's just gonna transform her arm, like, into that form of dread, and brush against the spiral again. I'm curious if that's gonna affect anything, because it's a life tree, and it's a form of
Glowing.
undead, basically.
The glowing doesn't interest you at all?
What's the glowing interest me?
As your hand turns in this sort of like claw-looking thing, kind of scales growing around it, now you're sure it's not your imagination. It's not a super visible thing, but the glowing kind of matches the glowing of your like own scars and the aura of your form of dread, and it's like intertwining with it and kind of reacting with it.
Mherren's breath just kind of hitches, and she sort of just starts to trace the spiral very gently with her claw.
It's kind of just very, very subtly, like there's like some like magical sparks as you like connect your finger with it. You're not sure of the arcane reasoning behind it, but deep within you, you feel like a sixth sense of connection.
Mm-hmm. After a moment, Mherren pulls away and releases the form of dread.
Would I be able to sort of... I don't really know what I'm looking for, though. I wanted to make a religion check again on the form of the woman specifically, but I don't really know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I just want to...
Make a religion
any-
check. I'll give you advantage. Make a straight roll.
Fuck yeah! Oh, 12!
I love straight people.
I don't.
Whoa.
Fringe.
Okay.
You're getting, Pebble, a sense of deja vu seeing this. You feel like you recognize this figure, but you've never really seen a depiction of this god before. That goes by the name of Gwynvaine, so you're not quite sure why.
Maybe because Sana is her.
That doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't seem to resemble
We
Sana.
killed a god?
We killed a god.
We killed Sana?
We didn't kill Sana.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
thank
yeah,
you.
what the fuck? Sorry. Wait, I don't
That's
know
a
why I
load
didn't
off
even
my
like
mind.
register that you said that.
He's sort of looking at the floor after giving you all a minute just to like look around in here. It's very like beautiful. The room is almost like illuminated by these glowing spiral carvings into these roots. The air is heavy in here, just a powerful feeling, like what you get in like a large cathedral to something greater than yourselves. Like I said, this was not carved in by our people, so we do not truly know what any of this really means. In our culture, this is of course a protected space, our most holy of sites. I figured that allies of Sana, friends of hers, ones she trusted, should see this. She
Thank you.
spent a lot of time down here whenever she wanted to be alone.
Mherren's just kind of looking around now, not really, like she's listening, but she's not looking at anyone. She's just sort of like smiling to herself as she imagines Sana down here.
Well, you all shouldn't stay in the Braewood long. It may not be safe for you, even here. However, spend the night. Tomorrow, we shall return Sana to nature.
That sort of makes Mherren still, and the smile drops from her face.
Begins walking out, and after the rest of you leave, he locks the crypt here back up, and you all are set up with these sort of rooms within the trees that are like tree houses. They're like private little bungalow type things for you to spend the night in. If you all think you're able to now, you'd be able to take a long rest, unless you guys would like to do anything while you're here before you go to sleep.
Both of us definitely going to long rest.
Did you call it a crypt just the one time? Or did you call it a crypt
I
when you
call it,
introduced it?
I call it a crypt when I introduced it.
Okay. Because I was just that one word was very, it stuck out quite a bit.
I think despite not wanting to, like, Mherren would probably fight sleep at first, but she kind of got knocked out so many times and took like 13 arrows to the back. So she's kind of just collapsing regardless of if it's what she wants.
If you need anything in the night, my name is Silnan. Just ask for me.
Thank you. This is
You want to spell that, or am I just going to type Seal Man in my
it's
note?
it's
Silly man.
SYLNAN.
Okay.
And the mother's name is just ULA.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, tree jumping gentleman.
It's the early morning now. You all are leaving your little tree houses to go out into the woods. Seems like a lot of the wood elves here are early risers and such. You hear commotion fairly early in the morning, but leaving these little tree houses, you see Ula approaching, and behind her are two guards, like a kind of ranger-looking people behind her, carrying a large wooden chest with intricately carved like vines and leaves and nature insignia. We're preparing for the funeral in a few hours here, but I wanted to pass on some of Sana's belongings. I think most of it she'd want you to have to aid you in whatever she couldn't finish herself. It was all put in this chest here, which you can keep the chest as well. It's charmed to be resistant to fire, as much of our structures here in the Bray are. Good for keeping your belongings in when traveling.
Thank you so much. I'm sure this will be a help.
I will
good.
be sure
It's
to
Balthazar
line my
proof.
pockets.
Balthazar proof.
Her allowance pouch only has 60 platinum in it. She
Sorry,
must have
60?
she must have really struggled on your journey. I can't imagine what she went through with only 60 platinum.
We all struggled very much.
Retrospectively, isn't that one platinum only 10 gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 600 gold. We've been paid better than that. She was
Yeah,
getting
but
low.
think about how much platinum she's fucking spent.
There's
Yeah,
also
no, she's-
2,278 gold pieces if you can find any use for that pocket change.
That is 2,278, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so divided by
And
4.
she's like looking through the pouch with her fingers. There's also these little pieces of trash she must not have noticed in there. 9 little silver
no.
things and 9 of this brownish metal. Apologies for not having time to throw that away for you.
I will take these brown things. They quite match my vest.
She hands
Yeah.
you over the 9 copper.
So everyone gets 569 except 2 people get 570 gold. I already took 569.
I'll take the funny 69.
Okay, so
And
then
I'm
the
also
other-
taking the copper.
Oh yeah, so it evens out.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah,
the
for sure.
569 as well.
Well, no, you have to take the 570.
Yeah, I already took the 569.
Oh, no funny.
And then 15 platinum. Sorry, 15 PP.
Yeah, 15
Those for us as
PP
well?
each.
15 PP.
What about the silver?
We're adults. But the silver, I don't give a shit.
Silver, was
We
it?
can just
Nice
I'll
silver.
fashion them into buttons.
Oh,
I'll take those. And how many copper was it? 7?
9.
Oh, whoa! I'm living it up big.
There's also these gross-looking shrimp shell gloves, if you want those.
Oh,
There's a small sling here. That is a sling +2.
this is breaking my goddamn heart.
Who's getting these shrimp gloves? They're good for punching with fist.
I'm really good at that.
I guess I probably could.
Yeah, Mherren would make the most sense.
I do.
The
hit
funny thing is, I
things.
think Shello punches with his fist the most.
But he also does
But
no
he does the
damage
least
with
damage.
his fist.
He can do more damage with these because it's a
Yeah.
flat roll, extra roll.
What
never
the
know.
skib?
So Shello's getting the other sling.
I suppose so.
Unless someone else wants it.
I don't. If anything, for sentimental value, but other than that, I
Just keep
no.
her sling for sentimental value.
Hey,
She never even
was her
used it. She got it at
Hey,
the same
it
time.
was
as
her
Shello did.
belonging. Hey, it was her belonging.
She had a spell scroll for knock.
Oh, I forgot about that. Balthazar, do you already know knock?
I don't believe so. Let me quickly double check my spells.
You don't.
Dude,
No.
Flipping through
Okay.
pages.
She'll hand the knock
Yeah.
spell scroll over to Balthazar.
Mhm.
She had a greater healing potion and a regular healing potion.
I'll take the greater healing potion.
I don't use healing potions. I should, but I don't.
You really should.
You
Please
really
take
should
them.
use
Yeah,
healing potion.
I don't think about it in the moment.
You
Because
really
I'm
should
just-
take them.
No, I've very few times.
We've
been
had
in a
to give you
position where I
our
need
healing
to.
potions. Get your own damn healing potions.
What? When I'm dead, when I can't take them.
Yeah. Well, believe it,
Yeah,
you can
of
avoid
course
death
you have
with
to
healing
feed...
potions.
No.
I'll
That's...
take the healing potion.
Dude, when I am
Alright, Shello
suddenly
gets the healing
lose
potion.
50 HP and I'm down, you guys do have to give me healing potions because I'm down.
Also in her belongings is Afterglow Academy textbook that looks very old and a little bit crusty.
Yeah.
I enjoy some crusty reading.
Is this not? Well, you were teaching her. I assume this is from the halfling, right?
I look at
No.
Mherren.
He's a dwarf, actually.
I look at you as if I'm like, this is news to me. I didn't know you were halfling.
Balthazar will sigh and come forward to collect the textbook.
She's looking at you and she says, "Oh, sorry. I guess you do. This is because the beard. I didn't realize. Yeah, you must be a dwarf."
See, that's what I'm saying.
It,
But he won't
that
admit
doesn't
it.
make it any better. Just no. Just give me the book.
He hands it over. This is the book that Sana got from the thrift store. She had a little vial of something labeled Kyotum's ointment.
What?
I don't
She must
recall
have bought
that.
it somewhere.
I
Hey.
genuinely don't remember that at all.
This is a
An ointment for sore
Must have been for her
tummies.
cramps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just a healing item.
Mm.
Well, Mherren doesn't need it, so
No.
Mherren would not have ointment.
It looks unopened. Does anyone want the ointment?
I do have a dicky tummy from time to
A
time.
dicky tummy.
Alright, she'll hand it over to Shello.
It is safe to drink, yes.
I don't know what this is. It's not something I've seen.
I thought ointments were stuff
Maybe there's
that
a
you
little
like.
disclaimer
like-
on it or something.
They are, in fact, things you put on the skin.
Yeah,
Scally.
that's
on
okay.
the
so-
on the jar, there's a little label that says "Caution: You can eat."
you
You
can.
can. But it's
Then they
Sweet.
wouldn't have a caution on that. That's not a warn. They don't have to warn you that
Austin,
you can't
eat
ingest
this.
it.
Well, it's possible to ingest.
Caution:
So-
Can be ingested.
Can be ingested.
Good.
I love how that's a caution.
She had a
Yeah,
little
Yeah, dude, that's
little
what we've been
T-Rex
saying.
figure toy or something. Little keepsake.
I'll take that.
It's so Jover.
And this is fairly basic, but do any of you need a torch?
I have a few.
He's like-
I believe we could use a torch.
Yeah, she'll hand over the torch to Shello, I guess.
We need to set this chest on fire.
It's literally the opposite.
Pulls out a little ring, and she says, she had this on her finger. It seems to be some color-changing ring, but it looks like it's stuck on blue.
Oh, yeah. Pebble takes it and says, like, thank you. And just, like, sort of looks at it, rubs the ring for a second.
You know
What
that-
is blue?
You know that blue with your little chart that came with the mood ring is it conveys an emotion for calming or relief.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
stuff.
And there's these last two things here. She already had these when she ran away, but I still figured that you all should take them. This is her staff. It's just a quarter staff, but it's crafted of wood from the life tree itself. Doing so is actually strictly forbidden, but we thought it'd bring her closer to Gwynveen to draw her power from, so we tracked down some thieves that illegally poached the tree's wood. It, of course, never worked for Sana, but I can't imagine any other druid would want to meddle with such an affront to the gods here, so if you'd like it, you may keep it as a memento. It is a very fine wood that could be used for crafting, a weapon handle, something like that. It's really up to you.
And can we gnaw on it?
Please don't.
Well, I would advise you to be careful with it. It is sacred wood, but it is also an illegal artifact from here, which is why we don't really want to keep it here. So I'll just say you're free to do whatever you want with it.
Balthazar uses a quarterstaff, right? That's the correct type of staff that I'm thinking of.
At the moment, he doesn't.
Balthazar has a
believe.
quarterstaff, but he doesn't really use it for anything.
Oh, wait, why doesn't he use it?
Because he
He
doesn't need
do-
to.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was
Then
a
I
starting
guess-
equipment.
For now, Pebble will hold on to it.
We can leave the large stick in our home, perhaps,
Yeah.
where it will collect dust,
Well,
and then
well,
we can gnaw on it.
okay. I don't know about gnawing on it, but we can keep it with us in our home.
Lastly, this is what she was wearing when then she pulls out of the chest a cloak that all the other items had been kind of like wrapped in within the box. You all had suspected this item was magical with its sort of slight enchanted sheen. It's this very thin white cloth with a hood that Sana wears, but the pure white of it fades into this dark red of blood at the bottom.
Oh,
Mherren reaches out for it.
She hands it to you and says, "This was a gift from Zodar. I mean, the king. The day that Sana was born, he said it was enchanted for her protection. As a baby, she was wrapped in it, and through her youth, it was like a security blanket for her. So, keep it close."
Mherren just sort of under her breath mutters, "I guess we traded."
This is
what
a
the fuck?
cloak of protection. It gives +1 AC.
Oh.
Pebble could use that.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to Mherren.
You could have 20.
I know.
Think about it. The
Mherren
unattainable
deserves this.
goal is now
Mherren
within your
deserves
reach.
this. Mherren deserves.
Snatch it from Mherren.
I knew this is what you were gonna fucking do. I knew you were gonna say like, oh, haha, Pebble's gonna take it now, but no, she's actually not.
Well, we're setting up now, so I'll see you down there in a bit. And she sort of does a light bow and walks back down.
Bye bye,
I'm so not ready for this.
Neither am I.
gang. I'm unsure if I am now allowed to be at the forefront of people's attention. I believe Moneybags told me earlier to allow others to speak, and I'm not sure if that still stands.
No, you can talk. It's okay.
Very well.
You know.
I was unclear when the show had ended.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. The show is over.
I'll take a bow.
I love him.
You all can start making your way down the life tree. As you go down, you You guys are up pretty far in the woods here. This tree is much more massive than all the other trees. So going down, getting out of like the sort of leaves and such, you see a giant gathering of wood elves at the base of the tree. Even more than who showed up in this sort of gathering area at the base when you first arrived. See what the commotion was when you delivered the body. It seems like, from as far as you can tell, every single person who lives within these woods is gathered here. There's Sana's body laying in this bed of flowers in the grass. She's wrapped in a funeral gown that's made from leaves, and one by one, all these wood elves are going up and plucking one of the flowers around her, and they're putting them into these lanterns that they're waiting to light after everyone takes a flower.
Well, I suppose once we get down there, I'll take a flower as well.
Yes, I'm following suit.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
we'll
we-
also take a flower.
Balthazar as well.
Her mother, Ula, starts speaking. She says, "I still remember the day I gave birth to my dear daughter. It was a day such as this where you could feel a chill in the air for the final days of summer. Raising her was not easy, let me tell you." There's some like chuckles in the crowd. "She was a quiet girl, never did her chores, but anytime she was feeling the weight of the world, she'd ask us if we could take a trip to the theater, and she'd get lost in the world of others she saw on display, the fictional tales, the musicals, the performances. Even still, she never wanted to ever leave the Braewood. So, I take solace in knowing her final days were spent being true to herself and being guided through seeing the world with that same comfort she felt within the theater." And you kind of, she's kind of looking down, but you see a quick glance up at your grouping. "Now, please, would anyone else like to say some words?"
It can't be me first.
I guess we'll raise his arm and wave and say,
Hello, I'm Shello. I'm the juggling ant boy, and I would like to say that though the time that I knew Sana was brief, they possessed many great qualities, some seen in people of my usual friends, though I would say none are in as similar to Sana's qualities. Sana was very unique and had a lot of money. Thank you very much.
There's laughter in the crowd, but it seems like a lot of them are trying to kind of hide their laughter.
Pebble sort of steps up in front of the rest of the party and says, "Hi, I'm Pebble. I was one of the people traveling with Sana, although you probably assumed that, I guess. I also might not have known Sana for as long as most of you here, well, all of you here, but in the time knowing her, she lit up our world. She made us happier in the worst situations, and when we were fighting, she was always the person who tried to keep us together. I don't know if you all have experienced that with her, but she has a way of bringing out the love in everyone, and she can be harsh with her words, but she was always telling the truth, even if it might not have been what you wanted to hear. The four of us, we probably couldn't have made it this far without her help, and I wish she could be here with us to experience the rest of our journey and to see how much all of you love her.
When we first met Sana, she was quite frightened. She was hiding from some guards in it seemed to be a storage for a kitchen. And she was so frightened, and we weren't sure what her next move was going to be. If she was going to take up fight or flight. Having gotten to know Sana over the past coming weeks after that interaction, she started opening up more. And towards the end, she ended up being the bravest of us all, not backing down from anything that stood in her way. As having had been a parent, looking at her growth, now she overcome her trials and tribulations, we couldn't be more prouder of what she did. And if I was any of her loved ones, including her parents, they should know she grew to be a great person.
Mherren steps forward. My name is Mherren, and I only met Sana a short while ago. But I can say with full confidence that I'm not the same person I was before I met her. And I frankly never want to be that person again. The impact that Sana had on my life, she gave me something to live for. I would have happily given my life for hers. And now that I've had to say goodbye far, far sooner than I would have liked, I plan to keep living with that part of her with me. I don't want to talk about how I met her or how I lost her. While we were with her, she had the most profound effect on all of us, I think. I probably still am, too self-sacrificing. And that little elf had no problem calling me on my shit. She made me a better person, and she made me realize that even though sometimes things like this happen where you can't stay together for long, it's still important to make those connections. And my only regret is that I couldn't have had my connection with Sana for longer. She never failed to make me open up, to put me at ease, and to keep me going, frankly. I'm really not good at these sorts of things. I think I can probably say this for all of us, but I adored that girl, and think even if thousands of years were to pass, though I'm sure I don't have that long, I don't think I can ever forget her. the hells know I'll try my hardest to never forget her.
I just wanted for Shello to once again raise his hand, and go. Oh, and one time me and Sana, we danced in front of a very large bug. Thank you.
The same female druid, kind of scary looking, that restrained you all when you first arrived. While I was a mentor to Sana in her druid studies, we became very close. She was one of my only friends. She, as you all know, is not a good student, and it was frustrating, but I was the only one here with the patience for it to attempt to teach her. Despite her lack of progress within druid studies or even some ranger studies, I could tell with the glint in her eyes she kept up the passion for it throughout, and she was probably most hard on herself for not being able to learn what others could so easily here. So I would occasionally sneak her things from the outside world. Apologies, Ula Silnan, but just gifts from my travels whenever I'd leave here. She would always ask me about what it was like outside these woods. In a way, her own eagerness for it pushed me out to my own pursuits outside of the Bray. And she was very broken up when I decided to leave here and stop being her teacher. But I knew she was never truly the type to back down. My last thing I told her last time I saw her was, I told her she is a druid, even if she doesn't learn the magic. She's still a druid. And I was assigned to find her. Part of me just wasn't after the reward, the job. Just to see her again for myself. She helped me in my own future, and for that I thank her. I don't know who did this to her, but they snuffed out one of the last lights in this world. And she kind of puts a hood up and kind of retreats back into the crowd a bit. And some other people come up just recounting stories. A lot of them don't seem super close to Sana, but some of the servants and things talk about experiences they had with Sana as like a child and things such as that. It's not nighttime or anything, but with the leaves of the trees in the sky, it makes it sort of dark within these woods. They seem to like have dimmed the torches and lights that they have in here to make it sort of have the appearance of like nighttime as people begin releasing these lanterns out into the sky with like the flowers inside of them burning to create a colored light that floats up into the air.
There's still time, guys. We could revive her. There's still time.
No, the time limit has gone.
Guys, there's still time.
It wouldn't be Sana. Necrosis doesn't work like that.
She also doesn't have a heart anymore. Which some would argue she didn't have a heart before.
Which is why Revivify will only into Necrosis.
We can get her a new one.
As the lanterns float up higher, you begin to see these floating shadows at the top of the trees. And these are small little creatures now being illuminated as the lanterns rise. You make them out as being the same round little dragon creatures you had seen in the green clay woods not so long ago.
The little neep-norps.
Of like different colors and such. A few dozen of them just flying around looking down at you all.
Aww. And people don't believe that we actually saw them. Now we've seen them twice.
Silnan walks up to your group and says, looking up into the sky, Despite the sorrow, it is a beautiful sight.
It is.
Are
I wish she could be here to see it with us.
are those little creatures up there yours?
What creatures? The lanterns?
They're
God, they can't see them.
Am I hallucinating again?
No, only we can see them.
Are we hallucinating?
Maybe if one of us can sketch it and show people.
That's a really good idea, actually.
There are these creatures up there. I believe we have seen them before. Small, round, colorful things. Perhaps deadly or dangerous. I'm not sure.
Pats Shello's head and is like, oh, don't worry, the lanterns aren't living and the fire won't burn the trees. They aren't dangerous. He kind of laughs and then walks away up to
What the Riz?
We're crazy.
Sana's body. The attention of the crowd turns towards her instead of the lanterns in the sky now, as these vines begin to wrap around Sana's body and kind of bring her into the earth at the base of this tree, as the ground and the tree begin sort of forming over her as she's sort of buried into the ground, the roots kind of bringing her under.
Excuse me, gang. This is the regular for these celebrations, yes?
I suppose so. Or maybe it's just because she's royalty. I'm not sure. Have you never been to a funeral before?
I do not believe so. I've usually when there are this many people in one place, they are watching a show.
I guess you can think about that. It's like a celebration of a person we lost.
Yes, the man who formerly owned the owl told me of this.
Formerly owned the owl.
The artist formerly known as Balthazar.
He
FKA owl. Then you all hear a sudden shriek echo through the air.
Uh-oh. Because we can't have nice things. God damn it. We can't just have a nice funeral celebrating the life of our friend. Someone has to get attacked. Has to be a combat encounter.
Sounds like it's from very far away, and it's a sort of shriek you recognize from a maybe a couple days ago now. You see all the little creatures flying in the air quickly bolt away into the leaves of the trees, and the wood elves are kind of frozen in their tracks looking up when Silnan takes a step forward, lifting his staff into the air, and other druids kind of follow along, and together they all begin parting the trees, making a clearing in the sky, and you can see up at the floating islands of the capital as the blur of a dragon is falling between them, a massive golden rod of light through its chest.
Oh, fuck.
Silnan kind of mutters, "Oh, the gods above, they did it. They finally killed a dragon."
Excuse me, are they celebrating as well?
That's where we'll end the session.
That's a great line to end the session on.